Greetings. Greetings. My name is Kiona, and I'm here as a friend to share heart space with you about my experiences with trauma and grief. And so this video will probably be most appreciated by people who have also been through trauma and grief, because there's just something about sharing stories that somehow gives strength. My present life is full of blessings, but haunted by a very dense cloud of grief, almost like a force field that surrounds me, so that I cannot enjoy anything because of the sadness and the grief. I've done a tremendous amount of spiritual growth work and healing work, and I can tell you for real, the struggle is of epic proportions for me, and I feel like it's heroic for anybody to go through it with conscious awareness and intention, knowing the eternal and ultimate realities, such as that we are expressions of the infinite possibilities of the unified field of consciousness, Source, God. Knowing that, and knowing that we are eternal, and that it all springs from the same source and it all returns to the same source. Knowing these eternal truths, and yet feeling very intensely into the movie of this lifetime and the people and situations and circumstances. So about 10 years ago, if you want to frame your experience in the journey of the hero, the happiest years of my life probably were in my 20s. I was in college studying anthropology, and just it was an incredible time. I was just getting immersed in such cool stuff all the time. And then about 10 years ago, I was pushed across the threshold into the unknown when I was evicted from my home that I had had for over 10 years. A wonderful house right in the city, surrounded by trees and peacefulness. And that started a landslide that took years to break me down and completely bring me to my knees and strip me of absolutely everything that defines me. For example, I was raised by a narcissistic mother, and my sister was her golden child, and I was black sheeped. My brother was also black sheeped. Typical narcissist abuse syndrome. So when I grew up, when I was 18, I had my son Taylor, and it felt to me like it healed everything. He was a total generator of love and a source of love, and adorable, creative, cute, energetic, brilliant. And this healed me tremendously. But I made choices that led to my situation being overwhelmed. I found my own children to be a tremendous source of love, fulfillment, completion, wholeness, and And it was just such a blessing always being their mom. So the landslide of events led to me being robbed of all of my children. So the source of love in this lifetime that I had identified with, my own children who I wanted and who I adored, were also ripped from me. All my manuscripts of my books I wrote, my freedom, as this landslide of events included numerous trips to jail for me, because I was battling a very corrupt Department of Social Services who were in league with corrupt local police officers and corrupt judges. And I proved all of this, and as a result I was harassed by the police, and they worked together to make sure my rights to my children were terminated. It's a long story, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm talking to you like a friend. I don't know who you are exactly, but I feel like if you're still watching at this point that you want to share some heart space with me and just figure out this story, you know. So if you look at it in the frame of a journey of a hero, you get an invitation to adventure, which I guess for me was my eviction notice. And then you cross the threshold into the unknown. This is real life. Eviction notice is an invitation to adventure. Crossing the threshold into the unknown is when we walked out that door for the last time, which we became homeless. We didn't have anywhere to go. My family is narcissistic, as I said, and I'm the black sheep. It was right when Hurricane Katrina happened, so all of the shelters and nonprofits were completely swamped with thousands and thousands of refugees everywhere I went, from North Carolina to California. So it was a perfect storm, you know. And then you basically go into a labyrinth or an abyss eventually, and as you go you battle different monsters and different dark aspects of your own self in an astral form, as these circumstances say you are battling your own complete lack of unconditional love for yourself. It's here, and this situation manifests of these corrupt social workers and cops trying to take away what I felt was the source of unconditional love, which was my children. It was demonic. I always said it was a demonic stronghold, and I felt like I was kidnapped by a demon and taken to hell. Every day, I just can't even explain the dehumanizations, the violations of privacy and of rights. Like anybody would go in normally expecting to be treated well, treated with courtesy, treated with hospitality. If there's no reason to not be treated well, you expect to be treated well. Well, every time I went in with that attitude to these circumstances, I was ruthlessly sabotaged and attacked. And I withstood every attack just like a hero in the labyrinth. And every single attack came out unsubstantiated or something else. I should also mention that if we back up in my story a little bit, I was evicted from my home in North Carolina, in the mountains where I went to college. And then a friend gave me a van, a camper van, and we went on the road as homeless people when Hurricane Katrina had hit and everybody was on the road. I lived on the beach in Santa Cruz, California for about 4 months, and it got colder and colder that winter, and I realized I needed to get us off the streets. You see, we made every day an adventure because of me being a rainbow and an anthropology student and other things I was exploring. I knew enough to know that we could just go with the flow and roll with it as a lifestyle. as unschoolers, as hippie Rambos, as eco-nomads. So, but the fact is we were homeless. We didn't have any money. We had to recycle things. But we stayed clean, we stayed well fed, we went to beaches and parks and libraries every day. Went on beautiful drives. But as the winter went on that year, in the winter, like October to December of 2005, I think. Maybe it was 2004. Anyway, I was an online activist and also trying to get started as a social media manager. So I was connecting with the nonprofit I work for now, New World Rising. I'm the project developer and social media manager, and I have been all this time. But that was when it started. Well, when I was on there, there was a man. He ended up being a sociopath and a narcissist, but he invited me to get off the streets and come and live with him in Arkansas. And sent me all the money to go there and everything. But when we got there, as soon as we got there, I knew it was all wrong. But it was like I had walked into a trap and it sprung on me. He was not anything that he said he was online. In fact, he was not even a nice person. This is who I ended up being yoked into a marriage license with and ending up having 2 children, Forrest and Jesse. This is like some kind of epic movie. Like, why would I choose to do that? I hear people say we create our own reality, but I don't know if that's true or not. I think life is like one of those books where you can choose your own ending by choosing different pages in the story to go to in order to read a different ending. And you make these different choices and you split off onto some other parallel timeline. If I had never gone to Arkansas, then this heroic journey would not have happened. It would have taken a different form in some other intense ordeal. But I'm grieving the loss of my children, but yet also understanding everything spiritually. But I can't get rid of the pain. It'll never go away. It's like it's part of me that they are gone because of illegal prosecution and dismantlement of my family. And also being abused by a narcissistic sociopath. And I mean a malignant narcissist and heavy alcoholic. And he was damaged by an abusive upbringing his own self. And also hurt in previous relationships by just really twisted people. And he became very twisted. But I honor his eternal soul. I thank him with forgiveness for playing the role of the antagonist in my story. Yeah, forgive completely. But yet the loss and the aching and the longing, the regret and all of that remains. And I do different things to try to be conscious and to deal with it, but I feel like I need to be totally solitary for a long time. Even though I need my children, I'll never have them. So I just want to be alone and go so deep that I have a breakthrough in my understanding. There's so much I want to say. What it comes down to is liberating yourself from the bindings of the loss. You have to do that. You have to be radical enough to liberate yourself. And the way I do that, and I have to do it over and over again all the time, and I don't even know if it's going to work. First, I feel exactly what it is that hurts. Like, I miss the things I lost. Or I know I'm never going to have seen my children grow up and change as they come into adolescence. Missed all their holidays. Missed everything. Missed life. Missed all the giggles and blowing bubbles and bubble baths and road trips and movie nights and just everything. Missed it all. all the giggles and tickles. We really had a relationship like that. We were like soulmates. So accepting and allowing whatever comes up. So I know my children are about 12 to 13 now. Becoming teenagers. They were born in November of 2002. So we'll be 13, like 8th grade. Then after allowing that, I embrace it with mercy. I say to myself, I feel your pain. I say this to myself, and sometimes to my inner child, who I do feel as a small childlike voice within me, who says stuff like, if I go there, I wonder if anyone will want to be my friend. Like I used to talk when I was little. So I embrace it with love. First you allow it and accept it. Then you embrace it with mercy. You say, I feel your pain. I acknowledge what happened to you is real. And I'm here with you. And you're not alone. And it is what it is, it does what it does, and whatever happened, happened. So you allow and accept what happened. You embrace it with mercy. Then you bless it. You say, may I be blessed. May my children be blessed. Taylor, Nakoa, Anasazi, Hopi, Forrest, and Jesse. May everybody we've ever interacted with be blessed with awakening and healing and return to source. May the whole situation be blessed as a part of a heroic journey towards evolving and maturing, the maturation process to graduate to the next level. Then when you've blessed the situation, you try to celebrate it, even if you have to be sarcastic. Like, yay, my children were taken from me and adopted to this other family, and they got a much better life than I could have provided for them. They're so richly blessed, so loved. They got a much better life than I could have provided. But yet I'm very sad that I did not get to be the one to raise them. I'm not sure if it's right or wrong. I feel like social services is eugenics. They're deciding who gets to reproduce and who doesn't. Doing all kinds of weird stuff at Planned Parenthood. Heard some weird stories. And then deciding who gets to raise their children and how they raise their children. That's called eugenics. It's social engineering of the population. And the very first social workers worked for the eugenics institutions in America around World War II-ish. So to me it never feels right to be dismantled, to be torn apart, what God created together. Those children were mine. So I go back and forth, and this is how I grieve. Sometimes I'm totally conscious and liberated, and sometimes I'm really like a normal human actually suffering. So you allow and accept it. You embrace it with mercy. You bless it. You celebrate it. That's what liberates you. You celebrate it. And then you release it by saying stuff like, yes, this is what happened to me. And it hurt. And I remember that I sprang from the infinite field of possibilities of the unified field of consciousness that everything is, the multi-dimensional fabric with all these tendrils of all these lives and consciousnesses and timelines all woven together in this living matrix. So I remember that, and I remember things like a poem I heard one time where it said, your children are not your own. Just like you, they sprang from the cosmos, and that's where they'll return. And all of them have their own conscious journey, just like you do. So love unconditionally, without attachment. Love fully, from a distance or just in your head or whatever. It's like the grief squeezes my heart so that I feel unable to love. Like, if I love and I feel happy, then somehow that's wrong. Like, it dishonors my children to be happy without them here in my life. I don't understand this psychologically. I'm just describing what I'm experiencing. I feel like if I allow myself to be happy as though I have no children, that would be wrong. That would be a wrong thing to do. But yet, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, say if my children found me and wanted to reconnect, I don't want them to find me all pathetic and full of grief and sad. I want them to find me wise, gentle, powerful, with soft love, soft, strong love. And somebody who is living authentically in true passion. And so, for me to do that, I have to allow myself to do that. And I resist allowing myself to do that, which tells me I'm not ready to let go of the grief yet, or something, or there's still something to be resolved. But allow it and accept it, embrace it, bless it, celebrate it, and remember that we come from and we return to the source, which you can perceive in any way you wish, whatever serves you best. It's beyond all imagining. I mean, just as one small example, this whole entire universe, which seems infinite, is only one of many universes. Like a cluster of stars, but picture a cluster of universes. And then what's bigger than that? I mean, think about it. So much magic and power and mystery. So, this pain is very real. I feel like I'll never get over it. I'll never be the same. I'll never have the same joy. And I have to identify on paper the things that hurt when I think about them like that. And then the fantasies of how I wish it had gone. I got this idea from a video by Teal Swan called Bury the Fantasy. And then you liberate yourself by letting go of the fantasy. That if you could just have had it differently, that what happened to you wouldn't have hurt you, or it wouldn't have happened, or something. Like, you can make your situation okay by finding someone to be a mom for you, or finding other children to love, or finding another cool college to go to, or whatever. And I gotta say, I do plan to return to the mountains of North Carolina, where I had my home from which I was evicted, because I want to set up the same life again, and resume my life as though that 10 years was just a horrible intermission where all this stuff happened. In 30 years, it'll be fading memory. My children will never be a fading memory, but the circumstances and the people and their faces and their names, unless I make a record of it. And Muji said once that, he said, I'll be interested in talking to you when your autobiography is the size of a postage stamp. That's pretty hard to do with 7 children and all the activities and everything that goes with it. I've had 7 children. My last child, little girl, died the night she was born. She was born with a fatal heart defect. Beautiful little black-haired little girl with brown, rosy brown skin. So I named her Blessing Om Shanti Cloudwalker. So I'm grieving a lot of stuff. The loss of my dreams, loss of my freedom, loss of my reputation, loss of my children, loss of my dreams, loss of my youth, loss. But what comes after that? You can stay stuck in it forever, and that can become your emotional signature that taints everything in your life. Or you can somehow find a way through it, to be conscious of it. And that's why I really like the process of allowing, embracing, blessing, celebrating, and remembering. That's the actual process I've worked out for how to love unconditionally. Love myself especially, since this is where it has to start. My source of love was taken from me. And everything that comforted me, like my manuscripts, my medicine objects, my favorite clothes, everything has been taken from me over the years, repeatedly. So who are you when you have been stripped of everything except your body? Who are you? Or how do you generate love? How do you fill yourself up with love so you can enjoy life? Do you do that by getting it from other people, like children or fans or whatever? Or do you generate it within through something like this process of allowing, embracing, blessing, celebrating, and remembering? Remembering our true divine natures. I hope the universe truly is mysterious, as I've been hearing through studying quantum mechanics and ascension, spirituality, and all kinds of conspiracy research. And I let my interests go far and wide. I even watch videos of urban explorers. I watch videos about psychology. I kind of follow spirit randomly, rather than set out a plan and do research, blah, blah. I literally just follow wherever YouTube suggests for me to go. I absolutely love YouTube. So grieving, it's almost a self-indulgent choice. It's not, though. I can feel my heart hurting sometimes and my tummy chakra, and I use the NLP technique of pulling the feelings out of me. Feel where they are and just pull them out like strands of taffy. Keep pulling it out until it feels like there's not any more. And you're kind of gathering it into a ball in your hands right here. Until that pressure goes down or that feeling goes down. Gather up as much as you can. And then squeeze it together. Just like you have a ball of energy taffy. And then you make a little cupping in your hands to hold it. And then start rotating it. Let's say, I am healing. I am whole. I am balanced. I am aware. I am sensitive. I am good. I am that I am. And so it is. And put it right into your heart chakra and feel the energy go through you. And this is how you reprogram your nervous system. Part of how you reprogram your energy signature in your body. You might have to do it repeatedly. Pulling this energy out. Picture it coming out. And you might be able to pull it from other areas too. Like I have a weird shoulder pain today. Pull that out and put that in there. And then spin it again. I am soft. I am grateful. I am receptive. I choose peace. I am that I am, and so it is. And then you can feel the energy running down through your nervous system. It's like a tingling feeling. And then I try to relax for a while to let it do its work. I'm finding that this kind of work makes my posture change. Like I feel like I should sit up a little. Not be hunched over, you know, but be like somebody who is at peace. It's an epic struggle, like I said. They terminated my parental rights in December of 2010, and I still grieve intensely. In fact, now I'm living in a situation where my partner pays all the bills so that I have been free to just heal. Only focus on healing in total freedom. And even with that total freedom, total solitude, everything I need, I can go deep into understanding. To me, I feel like I have no understanding and I still have a long way to go. But when I talk to other people, they always think that I've either done a tremendous amount of research or I really know what I'm talking about because I've been through it. And actually, it's both. Not that I'm an expert. I'm just sharing my heart with you of what I've experienced, because I like to watch videos of people talking about their experience. Even if there was bad parts in it or whatever, or even if they're really depressed, for some reason I just like watching it. It makes me feel deeper understanding and compassion, and actually more understanding of why it's good to liberate yourself from that. You can stay stuck in it for a while and play that part, but life keeps moving on. And so being stuck in grief keeps you from enjoying each day that you have. If you have 30 more years to live, that's a certain number of days and hours. And you're using up each one every day. So what I'm planning to do next in my grieving journey is to really write down the things that come up first. Every time I start talking, I feel the pain in my heart and my chest again that I just got rid of by doing this. And you have to keep doing it over and over again. It also helps to sit out and gaze at the sun for about 15 minutes a day. But you close your eyelids and you look towards the sun clearly shining, and you turn your head back and forth slowly. And when I do that, usually when I start, I have floaters and stuff in my eyes. And then I do this for a while in the sunlight, and I let the sun travel across my eyes. Open my eyes, close them again, and I see white, very fine white sparkle glitter everywhere instead of floaters and blotchiness. So the sunlight does something to purge impurities from our eyes or our brain. I'm not sure which. But I rarely go outside in my grief. I pretty much stay in my room all the time, like a mental hospital or a jail, and that's where I want to be. Today, though, was a very sunny, beautiful day. We've had a beautiful autumn. So I went out and sun gazed this morning. And while I was sun gazing, I felt inspired to make this video. And I'm going to talk whenever I feel like I need to talk, to share what this journey is really like. So the next phase is to do some rituals, to write down what happened, to write down the fantasy, which I do still intend to do, move back to North Carolina, get a Volkswagen camper van, enroll in ASU, Appalachian State University, raise my daughter Jessie there in the mountains, going to waterfalls, going to potlucks, going to college, hanging out at the coffee shop, going on road trips. I plan to replicate that life even though I'm 45 now. I don't care if I'm 55 or 65 or 75. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to say this 10 years was an intermission or a chapter in this book. You know, just because you grieve and get through the grieving doesn't mean the story disappears or what happened disappears. It just means you're moving on to the next scene in the movie. And all the scenes in the movie are meaningful to the story or they shouldn't be in there. So this is just a very meaningful chapter. And I love everyone unconditionally, even the people who've hurt me. Not with conditional relationship love, with pure unconditional spirit love. And that includes my mother, my sister, all their friends, my son Taylor, his girlfriend, my son Nicoa, his father and his father's wife, my spouse, if you can call him that, all those social workers, all those cops, all those judges and jail people, and all the drunks that contributed to my abuse. Everybody, all of us have true divine nature. We're just in these bodies living these stories out. And we can use them as practice to really mature spiritually. And my way of doing that right now is going to be seeing about doing some kind of honoring rituals. Maybe make a scrapbook. I don't have any pictures or mementos or anything. Everything's gone. All I can do is draw or make a video. So maybe make some kind of tribute things to honor my love for them. To write down the injustices and the abuses that traumatized and wounded me. To write down the fantasy of how it should have been instead. And burn or bury those. And then make a work of art with the new life I'm creating. With intuitive drawing or whatever, collages, and hang that up and look at it and remember it is what it is, it does what it does, and whatever happened, happened. Accept and allow what happened, even though it's all awful, and then embrace it with mercy and compassion by saying, I feel my pain. I acknowledge what happened. It was real and it was meaningful. It has meaning in my personal lessons I've been learning about unconditional love, which I never got from my mother, no matter what she says. And then I did get from my children, and then another narcissist, my so-called spouse, made sure to rob me of those children with his sabotage and abuse. despite all my heroic efforts. I'm left with the eternal truth that unconditional love comes directly from the source that you are made of. You can think of it as within you if you want. You can think of it as from outside of you being channeled through you. I just think of it as like vibrating in every atomic particle in existence. It's like plasma energy. I can feel it to some degrees, but not see it yet. I see clear auras around buildings and trees and things, but that's just part of being sensitive. So doing rituals and following this process is where I'm at right now in my solitary journey of grief and healing from trauma. I'm involved in 2 organizations that are helping me, one with trauma systems therapy and one with social emotional learning. And I'm looking for a therapist to work with me with cognitive grief therapy or cognitive behavioral therapy. On my own, I've done hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, chanting, toning, intuitive dance, intuitive drawing, and several other modalities. And I switched to a raw foods diet, took a lot of hot cleansing baths. One thing I'd like to do is an entheogen when I feel ready, like ayahuasca, to purge out anything remaining and truly be baptized in that way, reborn. But I have no idea when that will ever happen. In the meantime, I just keep staggering through each day, knowing these eternal truths and understandings, but also being fully immersed in the journey. So I wish peace and blessings for you. Thank you for listening to my story. Namaste.